Hello and welcome into this week's edition of the Rundown with Caleb and Casey here on a Wednesday evening. We're back, little 1 week hiatus. Plenty to talk about. The offseason rolls on, but we inch closer and closer to the start of the college football season when the Cyclones will kick off in Dublin, Ireland in about 5 weeks' time,
Crazy.
right? 4.5 weeks. I think it was 5 weeks as of this past Saturday.
Yes,
So
that
yeah,
sounds right.
four weeks to go. Um, it's coming, man. It's coming down the pipe. How are you, Casey, in lovely Ames, Iowa?
It's good. I heard the weather was a little rough yesterday in the O. But up here we're chilling. Basketball, Big 12 media days uh, this week. So tuned into that. We're starting to get the ball rolling into the start of football season.
Casey's got a review for what might be the best ice cream place in all of America. He's got to tell everybody
Oh
about.
yeah, Dairy Sweet in Adair, Iowa. I mean, that place is just fantastic. Went there today. It's kind of the middle point in Omaha and Ames. Met family there for my sister's birthday. I mean, you know it's good when the lady there is probably between 70 and 90 and only does cash or check. So ice cream was fantastic. If you're whoever's on their way from Omaha to Ames, you got to stop in Adair. It's right off the interstate. Stop at the Dairy Suite, the Dewdrop Inn. It's got to be the move.
How many different places out there do you think are called Dairy Chef, Dairy Sweet, Dairy Barn?
There's
And they
one.
all, like you said, they're all the exact same thing. Dairy Chef is a little more modern, the one we know in Elkhorn, because obviously
Yeah,
they'll take card payments there and stuff. But oh yeah, just the podunk ice cream shops that are the best ice cream in the whole world.
yeah. I remember going to one when I was younger in Louisville, Nebraska. There's a bunch of them. There's one in I think either Polk City or Slater has got one, and it's a literal shack,
Mm,
and it says famous chicken tenders on the side. So
mm,
I'll have to stop by there for some
yeah,
chicken tenders.
yeah. Come for the sports on the rundown. Stick around for some of the insights that might change your life.
We're food critics now.
Yeah, we are. All righty. Well, let's get rolling here. Big 12 media days were last week. We did not record, so let's just start right there. Man, just another reminder for me, at least. Just thinking big picture, another reminder for me at how crazy this conference just is these days. This is not. This is no longer the 10 schools showing up with Texas and Oklahoma being the favorites every season and Bob Bowlesby is the commissioner. And no, this is you've got gunslinger Brett Yormark's the commissioner. He's not afraid to take shots at the Big Ten and the SEC. He's not afraid to do crazy things. You've got Scott Frost in the Big 12. I completely forgot about that.
For the first time, yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that until last week.
National champion Scott Frost.
Former national champion Scott Frost. And technically, with his UCF career, he's a reigning national champion.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah. And so you've got characters like him. You have
you'll always have Gundy.
What?
You'll always have Gundy.
You've got the old head Mike Gundy, and you know who's technically the second oldest head at this point in terms of tenure in the Big 12? It's Matt Campbell. Yeah. That's crazy. I sometimes still feel like he's a newer guy, but he's the second longest tenured coach in the conference, which is wild. Yeah, and you've got, Kenny Dillingham again, and we've got, big spender Texas Tech. It's a crazy league, and I firmly believe moving forward, especially after just kind of following along with everything last week, this is still going to be a conference where there's no clear favorite. It's going to be anybody's ball game any year.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're not doing preseason rankings anymore. They just don't even want to deal with it. But yeah, this is not your grandpa's Big 12 anymore. This Big 12 it's action packed. It's, any Saturday, someone's going to step up and put you to the test, whether they're 0-7 in conference play or they're 7-0. You can't really take anyone easily. There's no off weeks, which we absolutely love. It just means we got to watch that many more games to stay up to date on things. But I liked a lot of what I heard, especially from Campbell's press conferences, which is what I listened to mostly. Spent a lot of time listening to him on the ESPN side, on his media interview side as well. But thought he really hit, he was very true to Iowa State is kind of what I would take from his interviews.
Yeah, I think the comment that probably got the most traction that Campbell made over the weekend. I'm sure you saw it when I don't even know what the actual quote was. I think it might have been paraphrased by a few reporters, but he said something to the tune of, we had at least 20 guys that either, could have made money or took a pay cut. I don't know exactly what the words were, to come back to Iowa State. And that got a lot of talk on the Twitter machine, especially. And I think it was probably taken out of context a little bit. I think the one that got people going was the Pete Thamel one. Whatever Matt said, and maybe you know exactly what the quote was, I don't think he meant a literal pay cut. I think what he meant was missing out on potential money elsewhere to come back to Iowa State. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I remember too. And he talked, and you always hear coaches talk about it, but for me, it's Campbell talks about it more than anyone. It's culture. And that was the first thing he talked about on the ESPN side. It was the first thing he talked about on the interview side. Like, he hits on the culture, and he kind of stuck with that. And he was like, we're not, he didn't actually like fully say this, but he was like, we're not going to spend a ton of money because we can't, but people buy in for the culture. And he talked about not only how they're producing great talents that go to the NFL, but great husbands and business leaders and great people in the community, and how that means so much more to him than, we're just going to go out there and win 10 football games, compete for the conference.
Yeah, definitely. And it, like we said, it's going to be, again, a wide open field this year, and no preseason poll, like you mentioned a little bit ago. I personally like that. At first I was kind of like, I don't know, like, it's fun to talk about and stuff. I think, though, for the Big 12, it's better, because I think the problem you're facing if you're the Big 12 right now is perception, right? And that's just kind of how it goes in college sports. Perception's a big deal. And preseason perception still, as much as it is wrong sometimes, it carries a lot of weight throughout a season. We saw that last year, right? Arizona State was picked to finish last in the conference. Ended up being a really good football team, almost won a playoff game against Texas, but still probably weren't getting the credit that they deserved, up until the very end, just because everybody perceived them as the team who was picked to finish last. So, I almost wonder if doing away with a poll maybe just bodes better for the Big 12, so that you don't have any of that established perception. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Like, you BYU and Arizona State, when you think about it, all that people talked about was, oh, they, the ball must be bouncing their way, or they got lucky here and there because they were supposed to be the worst two teams. And you look at the flip side of it, Oklahoma State, Utah, teams that really struggled last year. Everyone was like, oh, Big 12's not that good. Your best teams are losing by a lot, and they're not competitive. They're losing out of conference, even though didn't Oklahoma State beat like Arkansas, or at least hung in there?
They did beat them.
Yep. They did beat them early on, yeah. So, there is that, but everyone's just going to look past that and look at the Big 12 schedule that they had. I do get it, why they go away with it, especially, kind of being the little brother of the Power 2, just third wheeling on everything they do. But at the same time, to me, from a coach's perspective, you think of Arizona State, that's bulletin board material.
True.
Right there. You think of Utah, and it's, you struggle early. It's like, hey, we're going to have a target because we're the top team. You kind of rally your guys around that. Arizona State might not go on the run if they don't know that they're pegged to be the worst team. And, people are doubting them because, that's all Dillingham talked about in his preseason meetings, when they got into Big 12 play. Everyone's doubting us. nobody thinks we can do this. We got to go out there and prove something, that chip on your shoulder mentality. And, we may not have had Arizona State winning the conference. Arizona State, they may have had a good season because they're a very talented team, but, that team, they were young. They had a fire on them, and you don't know how much that chip on their shoulder mentality really affected the snowballing and, getting them all the way to the playoffs.
That's a good point. You come at it from the coaching perspective,
Yeah.
and sometimes the best thing for a locker room is for there to be a hater and a doubter. I know that anytime ESPN publishes an article about the 7th grade all Iowa attack team from Ames, that's going up in the locker room and that's being discussed.
Without a doubt, we tape it right to the door. And that's probably all the views it'll get is when people walk into the door, but it'll get views.
Well, anything else on that? We kind of discussed the Iowa State perspective a little bit. I think there were 5 players there.
Yeah,
I saw a couple interesting quotes. One in particular, I thought it was cool. Dom Orange was getting interviewed by some reporters, and they were asking about Iowa State having obviously the schedule they have to start the year with, both Kansas State and Iowa, who are, without a doubt the 2 biggest rivals, at least in football, for the Cyclones. And what that's like. And most guys are kind of like the cliche, we treat every game like it's the same, every game is same level of importance, which is a total lie, right?
Yeah.
Dom Orange's response was nice, and I wish I could pull up the video right now. But he basically said, like, we love this opportunity to, be able to face off against, the 2 biggest rivals to start the year. It makes the offseason, that much more. I don't know what the word is he used, but just you're anticipating the beginning of the season that much more, right? And there's just an added level of importance with, fall camp and summer workouts and stuff because, you got to hit the ground running, especially when you're going across the ocean to play a team. So I thought that was a cool response from Dom.
Yeah, it adds a hunger to your offseason. You've got to target early on. It's not like you're trying to look and just say, oh, in general, we want to finish top 3, or this game in October is on our list. It's our first 2 weeks, our first 3 weeks are all games that we want to go out and win. They mean that much more. You're going to have fans rallying behind you at Aer Lingus because it's – sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
You're going to have fans rallying behind you that travel, and then you're going to come here and, you haven't won it at home in a decade against Iowa. So you've got to find a way. Campbell's got to find a way to turn it around and win it at home. That place is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
It's a new look Iowa against an Iowa State that, won it last year, and now they're returning home. And is this the year? It means that much more.
Yeah. Question for you. This is totally off the top of my head. Just thought of it. Would you rather, as a Cyclone fan, I'll answer this question too after you. Would you rather win the game against Kansas State or the game against Iowa this year?
Iowa game. You got to win it at home.
Yeah.
Kansas State, for me, and Campbell talked about this too, about how teams that have played in Ireland have struggled afterwards.
Yes.
We talked about it doesn't matter if you win, it doesn't matter if you lose. Like, whatever this game is, something happens. But, we can lose that one. But, if you look at that, you lose to Kansas State over the water. You can chalk it up to so many things, and it's a solid Kansas State team. But beating Iowa just means that much. I mean, it's another 365 days of telling them they're little brother, and you win it at home. Like, the place will be absolutely crazy. Because, you think you win it in Ireland. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. But, like, how many Iowa State fans are going to be there? How much is that going to impact the season? Beating Iowa, that impacts a ton on the season.
I would agree with you too. I thought about this a little bit. I would agree with you for sure. Because first and foremost, you just hate hearing about that Iowa game when you lose to them. It's the worst. I hate it so much. I hate going on Twitter. It's the worst when you lose to them. It's so sweet when you beat them. Exhibit A last year, the way that went down. And again, the other thing riding on it too is the drought at home against the Hawks. You got to finally beat them in Ames. It's been so long. Other thing too, we've talked about this on previous episodes. You got to start winning these out of conference games. Then that's a Big 12 conversation as a whole. You have to beat Big 10 and SEC teams that are put on your schedule to improve that perception. So for Iowa State, it's a big opportunity there to do that. I do think, and the level of hatred too is obviously more for Iowa than K-State. I thought about K-State for a second because I was like, this Ireland game, everybody's watching it. So for Iowa State, solely their brand to win that game, I think would be huge because everybody's watching it. But at the end of the day, it's Iowa for sure. You'd much rather win that game. But go out and win both, baby. Come on.
Yeah,
and
you go 3-0. You don't have to worry.
State, please.
Yeah. Oh.
We have too many bad memories about what happened last time Iowa State played a road game at a G5 school. Let's exercise those demons this year.
You're on the hot seat.
Oh gosh. Although that guy might have been the best thing that's happened to Iowa State football.
He might have.
Maybe ever. He might need a statue.
Yeah. Someone find him and give him like a free pizza or something.
It's crazy. I don't think anybody's found him. Maybe
I haven't heard anything about him.
No, you would think like somebody would have seen him on Twitter at a game. He might have just rode off into the sunset after that. He knew what he was doing.
Maybe he lived in Ohio and just happened to be
that's probably what it is. Went out and bought an Iowa State jersey. Decided afterwards he wanted to cause some chaos. He's like the Joker. Just set everything ablaze.
Yeah. Our luck is he'll pop up at our worst moment this year too. Arkansas State, or he'll be in Ireland or something like that. Who knows?
All righty. Well, let's put that aside and move into some CFB 26 talk. Casey, guess what?
What?
I haven't gotten the game yet.
What?
Yeah. I know.
Unbelievable.
I'm ashamed. I've just been really busy lately and have allocated a lot of the expenses to other things. So we're sitting tight on it, but we'll probably be getting it here soon, which means that this conversation is all you, my friend, and I'll chime in however I can. But give the audience a rundown on how it's going.
Yeah, it's good. It's a similar look Iowa State. It's fun always to get to use different players in this that you aren't going to see in year one. The freshmen that come in, that year one they're sitting behind the seniors, and as you play further down a dynasty, you get these guys that are more useful and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. Started out in Iowa State dynasty. I always play my first game as Iowa State, just to keep the consistency. It's fun. It's very similar, but like a similar game, I'd say Dynasty is way better, but the Iowa State team, it's fun to use. Hansen and Sama are both just absolute tears on the field. Rocco is really good. Bramer is a fantastic player. Jeremiah Cooper might be a top 10 safety in the game. So there's a lot of –
I'm curious, how did they rate the two transfer receivers, Townsend and –
Townsend?
Is it Sewell or Soul?
I think it's Sewell. It's like Sewell. I think they're like maybe 84 and 81 or something like that. Just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think. They're solid. It's a similar. We talked about it when they came in. It's a similar thing to Higgins and Knoll, where you've got a kind of quicker, smaller slot type guy or receiver too, and then a jump ball guy, more physical, point of attack guy to
go. 1 second here. I've got the pronunciation for Chase. I'm gonna see if you can hear this. Ready?
Yep.
Wait, why is it not saying anything?
Chase Sowell.
Okay, there we go.
From Humble, Texas.
Here we go. John Walters, the Godfather, baby. Chase. Wait, it was Chase.
Chase Sowell.
Okay,
from
Sowell.
Humble, Texas.
Alrighty. Anyway, glad we got that cleared up. Chase Sowell. Yeah. Do they have the Do they have the most up-to-date uniforms in there for Iowa State and other teams?
They don't have the new crimson script. They have
Okay.
the white with the black script, the black with the white script, and I think the white with the red script, if I remember correctly. I'm only halfway through that Iowa State dynasty. Actually, I need to put more time into it. I've just been playing some rebuilds with some friends, so
There's a lot to be tackled in that game.
yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do. I think they do. I can't remember if they have their old jerseys in as well. I know some teams have like their 2023 jerseys in the game too. Rocco's an 88. John Tez is a 90.
Okay.
Tyler
Nice.
Miller is an 85.
Is Iowa State's ranked in the game, aren't they? Do they have a ranking next to their name? Like if you just do the play now, are they ranked?
I don't think they're ranked
Okay.
in total. I think they're ranked. I think they're in that like 26 to 30 range, if I remember correctly.
Gotcha.
But I think their offense is top 25.
Okay. Got it. Sweet. Well, we'll keep on monitoring this. And obviously, like we mentioned last time we were on, it'll be a couple years, but EA college basketball, the audience, if you guys aren't invested in this sort of conversation, too bad. It's going to be a big component of what we talk about for the next 2 to 3 years here, because everybody knows, we're continuing to scale this thing. This is going to be a national podcast by the time that EA college basketball game comes out.
Yep.
Let's talking basketball here. Tourney expansion, big deal right now in the college sports world in terms of the NCAA tournament. Still on hold as of now, correct? Nothing official yet. It's sounding like if it does happen, it's going to be either 72 or 76 teams, at least for this first year. It's a bummer. It just goes to show, again, like this is another example of college sports and its leaders not caring about what the fans and the people who really power the sport have to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What we want. It's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if it incorporated more of the small schools, get more of those teams in.
Mm-hmm.
But, the worry is you're going to add 12 more teams, and all it's going to be is, these Big 10, SEC, Big 12 teams that were like 500 or worse in conference play.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to watch them. You imagine UCF's team last year,
Yeah.
Like you think of Nebraska, like nobody wants to watch them go get beat by 40 by another Power 5 conference team. Like I'd love to see, more Liberties get in, or Fairleigh Dickinson and St. Peter's, teams like that getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Right states, schools like that are Dayton, like the top, instead of just being, the number one team in their conference. You think of UNI last year, going on a crazy run in the Missouri Valley Conference and not making it in.
Or a couple years ago when you had Indiana State and Drake, who were both two very, very deserving teams, and only one gets in.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, I mean, we know they're not going to put those small teams in because the reason they're expanding it is for money, and those small teams aren't going to, bring as many eyes because they are smaller colleges.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the unfortunate thing.
What does the theme always go back to when it comes to these conversations? However deep the pockets can be.
Yep.
Powers that be. But yeah, you're right. Like, it's just, it will not be fun to see these Power 5 teams that are 500 or sub 500 get into the tournament. I mean, even North Carolina last year, they won the playing game or whatever, but
who'd they play?
Oh, I don't even remember.
And it wasn't a good game either. It was like
No.
a 30-point game.
I want to say it was like Mississippi State maybe or something. No, because it wasn't them because they lost to Ole Miss in the round of 64. Ole Miss nightmares.
We've never played them before, so I wouldn't know.
Haven't, not at all. But I mean that's a team that won one quad one game all year long and got into the tournament, and now you're going to include even more teams like that. It's just a bummer. I agree with you. If they were to expand it, but it would be to allow a lot of these smaller schools to get in, that'd be awesome. I think everybody would sign up for that. But we all know what it's really going to be for, and it's going to be for these teams that are undeserving of being in the tournament. Finish bottom quarter of their conference probably, and are still finding a way to sneak in. Teams that objectively did not have good seasons. So it sucks. Can you believe this, Casey? Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, said that he supports tourney expansion.
Mr. Moneybags.
Crazy. What an absolute surprise that guy wants more money in his pocket.
Who would have guessed, dude? That's just
that's so unlike him.
No. I never thought after, bringing in Oklahoma and Texas and wanting more of SEC teams to have college football playoff spots locked in, that he would also want a bigger college basketball tournament. I would have never thought. He would have been bottom of my list.
Did you happen to see his comment at the beginning of SEC Media Days this past week?
I have not listened to SEC Media Days yet.
Okay. Let me find this quick. Let me find this quote.
Tomorrow's docket for me, I will be honest.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to find this quick. This is really bad. I should have had this pulled up. Something to the tune of power conferences. Probably hear my typing right now. Yeah, I cannot find it. But essentially, he said something to the tune of, all you guys are already talking, all you media members are talking about, conferences becoming super leagues or merging into super leagues. And then he said, we already got one right here. It's SEC, something stupid like that. Just arrogant guy.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Cringe.
All righty. Well, shall we do a 3 for 3 here? And then we got a pretty fun factual 5 today. I'm actually interested. It's going to coincide pretty well with talking about Big 12 Media Days. Let's hit our 3 for 3 first.
Yep. My number 3, I don't know if you saw this. West Virginia lands a commitment from 3-star running back Sir Paul Cheeks.
Oh, man. Are you serious?
That's what Rivals showed me on Twitter just earlier today.
We know where that guy's going.
Mm-hmm.
To the all-name team. Yes, he is. Well, I'll be honest, I only have one on my I'm really slacking. I only have one on my 3 for 3 this week, so go ahead with your 2.
My number 2 was the Johnny Furphy with arguably the dunk of the season in NBA Summer League on Noah Esenge.
Oh, that was good.
That was absolutely insane, and KU rep all the way.
I'll actually go with I'll throw in a number 2 just that I thought of it now. Curtis Jones, 20 points in the Summer League game with the Nuggets last night. That was pretty good stuff.
Played good.
Yeah, he did. He did.
My number 1 is the MLB All-Star Game. All-Star Game was fantastic. The auto balls and strikes was good when it was used as a challenge, and it was fairly quick too, like 5 seconds, which was really nice. They were back to wearing their team jerseys, it looked beautiful. I wish they had like all-star hats, but the team jerseys were sick. And then instead of extra innings, a mini home run derby swing off to decide the winner was absolutely awesome.
That was sweet. That's my number 1 as well. The swing off component of it was awesome. Never seen that before. That was a fun all-star game.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't had a very fun MLB All-Star game in a while. That was really fun. The way it
Last
came
year was good. It was just so defense and pitching oriented.
Yeah.
It was like a 2-1 final.
Yep. Kyle Schwarber wins All-Star MVP, right?
Yep.
Yeah. For obviously his performance there at the end to push him across the finish line. NL with the victory. Great stuff. Shall we hit our factual 5 here?
Let's do it. I'm intrigued for this.
Yes, this will be good. So we're doing our top 5 hot takes for the incoming Big 12 football season this year. A lot of different directions to take on this one. This is something that we should definitely revisit once the season starts. And now that I'm thinking of it too, Casey, we should. I'm sure we were going to do this eventually. We should do maybe we give a couple more weeks to learn more, but do our own Big 12 preseason poll here at some point. We did our way too early basketball one, obviously once transfer portal ended. Football though as well. Yeah, these are just hot takes today for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I think for me, I started my number 5 was my least hot take. And
yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here.
My number 5, Baron Morton of Texas Tech will lead the conference in passing yards. Last year, he finished 4th behind Shadur Hoover Becht, and he was 800 yards out. I think this is his year. I was kind of up between him and Sawyer Robertson of Baylor or Robertson. I just think with all these new acquisitions that Texas Tech has at receiver, at O-line, on their secondary to get him the ball back, I think he's just going to have more opportunity. He's continued to develop. He's a very solid player. I think he'll go out and lead the conference in passing yards.
And they spent some money on that roster.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Campbell, oil money down there in Lubbock. My number 5 is a Texas Tech take as well. It is not that though. And this may not even be that hot. I don't even know how many people are actually calling them the favorite to win it. I'm just saying right now, Texas Tech, I do not think is going to win the league. And again, not a super hot take because there's 15 other teams that can win it. But I think with all that, they're definitely the most talented team in the Big 12. I'm just for my number 5 going a little more, easing into it here. I don't think they're going to win it. I think that they have all the talent in the world that money can buy, but I think they're going to get to a point where some crap hits the fan and they finish, a 9-3 or a 10-2 just on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Or they could be there in Dallas, but still not win it.
Yeah, which is fair. My number 4, it's a little one of a self-roast. I think both Kansas schools finish 500 or lower in conference play.
Wow.
So
that is interesting.
Yeah, below 500. They combined for 9-9 last season. K-State was 5-4, Kansas 4-5 in conference play. I think both will still be bowl eligible. I think this season's a little bit of a retool, rebuild season for Kansas, and I think Kansas State's schedule is too tough. I think they're going to be a good team. They're going to be right in there, but I just think, ball doesn't bounce their way this year.
Interesting. My number 4 is going to be I've got Utah bouncing back this year and finishing top 5 in the league at the year's end. I hate saying this one because I do not like Utah. They are one of my least favorite teams in the conference with that arrogant fan base. I do think Kyle Whittingham's a very good coach, though. And I honestly think that Cam Rising not being around anymore is a blessing in disguise, and maybe not even in disguise. I just think that was such a distraction and didn't allow them to really focus on winning football games because there was so much noise there. I've got this team bouncing back. They went out and spent a lot of money as well this offseason. I don't think they're going to win it. I think they're going to be right there, though, in that top 5 this year.
Yeah. My number 3, very similar idea to you. 2 of the bottom 5 teams will finish in the top 5 this year. So Oklahoma State, UCF, Arizona, Utah, and Houston, and I guess Cincinnati too. We're kind of that bottom 5, Cincinnati and Houston tied. We're that bottom 5 of last year. I definitely think Utah's got a chance. I don't think this is Arizona's year. a new look UCF with Scott Frost back at the helm could just be what they need to push back into that top spot. Oklahoma State, you can't be worse than you were last year. So there's that. Houston and Cincinnati, they're solid teams. I think they're going to be close. And, sometimes you just heat up at the right time and things go your way and the schedule bounces out for you. And, I think that two of those teams have that chance. It's anybody's league every single week.
Gotcha. All right, my number 3 here. I am saying that at least 3 coaches from the Big 12 will get fired by the end of the season. Okay. A
Fire.
little bit spicy here. I think it'd be saying 2 would be obviously more conservative. I've got 3. The ones that are on the table would be, I think the easiest one is Brent Brennan down in Arizona. You and I are both in agreement there. I don't think they're going to be very good again this year. I think he's gone after that. I think Mike Gundy's right there. They could bounce back. If they don't, though, obviously we heard about all the drama in the offseason that happened.
Yeah.
With they basically, because I don't even remember what exactly it was, but yeah, they were basically on the verge of letting go of him, and then found some way to structure it all out, and he's still around, so he's on the table. I think Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati's on the table. I just think it hasn't been a great transition to the Big 12 yet for them. He's right there. And I think I do think that Dave Aranda is still right there as well.
Yeah.
He was really – we all thought after Iowa State, put them into a grave last year when they came to Jack Trice. We all thought he was gone, by the time that game was over. And he stuck around, and he ended up I think they didn't even lose a single Big 12 game the rest of the year. Really turned it around after that. But I don't know. I mean, he was really on thin ice at one point last year. If they don't perform, they got a good roster this year. If they don't perform and they go 6-6 or less, maybe 6-6 keeps him around, but if they go less than that, I think he's gone. So those are kind of my 4 that are all in contention. I think 3 of them go.
Yeah. That's a bold one.
That is bold. I know. That's very bold. It probably should have been higher than 3 here. But
I like it, honestly. You know what I forgot about until media days? I forgot Rich Rodriguez is now the coach at West Virginia.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
The coaching circle is crazy in the Big 12 this year. You've got literally everybody.
Yeah. My number 2 is, once again, I'm falling on this sword. Colorado is going to play for the conference championship this year, guys.
Here we go.
I've never really said this is their year. I think I've always just been, less down on them than most teams or than most media members, just kind of downplaying it. I think with the Sanders brothers gone, it's beneficial. I think they're great players. Don't get me wrong. Same time, Cade Salter's a fantastic quarterback. They got the 5-star I'm blanking on right now. Fantastic player. They were right there last year. They were tied record-wise for that Iowa State and Arizona State spot. I think this is the year that they get in. They figure things out. Their coaching staff is just getting better and better. I think their coordinators are taking on more and more, which in my opinion is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. I think Sanders is a good coach. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's a better recruiter than he is true coach.
Colorado is a really fascinating team to me this year. I think they might be the most fascinating team in the conference going into the season, maybe aside from Texas Tech, just because I think they're kind of flying under the radar a little bit. I think a lot of the Deion hype has just kind of gone away. Like they had a good season last year. I think just the sole, Deion being at Colorado aspect, it's not as, shiny new toy anymore, right? It's not all these big headlines. Also, no Shedeur Sanders, no Travis Hunter, which those two were, 2 of the best players in the sport last year, let alone the Big 12. So it's just kind of an unknown team. I feel like I don't really know what to make of it. I think they could go anywhere from 5-7 to 10-2, and I wouldn't be surprised either way. and anywhere in between. So I'm excited to revisit this at the end of the year. My number 2 here, this is kind of a bold one as well. I am saying, and obviously this might just be blind faith because history indicates this probably wouldn't happen, but I'm saying the winner of the Ireland game goes to the Big 12 championship. Not saying they win it, go to it.
Yeah.
Cyclones and Wildcats. I am decently high on K-State this year. I just think it's such a steady Eddie program. I think both of these 2 football teams are honestly just kind of mirror images of each other. They're not going to be the biggest spenders year in and year out at all. They're not going to have the most talented teams, but they have a consistent coaching staff, really good culture, year in and year out, just again, steady Eddie programs. And I think either one of them, whoever wins it, I think is going to make a run to Dallas, is what I am saying. Here we go. Buckle up, baby.
It's a good one, especially if we come out on top.
That'd be great.
Put 2 and 2 together. My number 1, of course, I had to go with an Iowa State one. Benny Ngoyi finishes all conference. I don't know if it's first team, second team, or honorable mention. I think, and maybe it's just because I like Ngoyi that much, being a Nebraska guy coming over to Iowa State with us. I thought I saw a lot of hope with him at receiver, and now he's moving over to corner, and we've seen this story play out before at Iowa State.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a good move for him. I think it's going to be well utilized. I am excited. I think he jumps off the chart. I think it's a little slow start because it's a different look. He's going to have to take time to get incorporated more. I think he's like CB3 right now.
Right.
I think he finishes all conference.
Oh, man. I actually am going to buy into this right now. I love this idea. I kind of forgot that he switched over, but I mean, the dude is a freak athlete, and we saw small snippets of it the last couple of years. He wasn't getting a ton of reps at receiver because he was obviously sitting behind 2, NFL draft picks. But that guy is a freak athlete, and you're right. We've seen it at Iowa State. We saw it with Darian Porter. We saw it with TJ Tampa, where the receiver flips to cornerback. We've even seen it with other positions too. Joel Lanning was a quarterback back in 2016. Became a middle linebacker and was a first-team All Big 12 middle linebacker in 2017. I think he might have been an All-American too. So yeah, it happens, and typically it bodes pretty well. So there's a good sample size to look at here. I love this idea. My number 1, I think that we're going to see 2 teams from the Big 12 make the playoffs this year. I think we're going to see it happen. And going back to the conversation about the poll, I think that actually might help that case because of the lack of perceptions. Now, that could also be a negative too, because last year, if Utah actually ended up doing what they were supposed to, that team was in no matter what because everybody already perceived them to be really good. So it kind of does go both ways. I think it'll benefit the conference though more than damage it, because if you do have a team like let's say a Cincinnati just ends up running the tables, and Brendan Sorsby is, an all Big 12 quarterback and, just elite team, they weren't officially picked in a poll to finish last. So I just don't think the perception is going to be as bad. And I think there's enough high caliber programs. Obviously it's all dependent on whether or not the conference eats itself alive, but I think you're going to have, at the end of the day, 2 teams that are seen as being good enough by the committee to get in. I'm going with that. I really hope it happens.
I hope so. I love it.
Sweet. All righty. We'll take a look at this in probably December.
Yep.
It's going to be great. I think all 5 of each of our takes are going to come to fruition. So anything else for you, Casey, before we hop off?
No, I think that's all.
Sweet. Well, he's Casey Schiesler. I'm Caleb Polking. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's edition of The Rundown. The off season rolls on. We'll see you guys next time.